What's up, everybody? Matt Kajeski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel ahead of Friday, February the 3rd, and we're talking college basketball, mid-major Friday, so we're really going to get into the weeds here with our three games. But before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so when this and all other content goes live. If you're listening on podcast, please leave a rating and review over there as well. And as you can see on the screen, or if you're listening, I'm about to tell you, we have a phenomenal limited time offer from DraftKings Sportsbook where you can make a $5 wager on any game, any side of your choosing, and whether it wins or loses, you are going to be paid out $200 in the form of free bets. No-brainer offer that is only available for a limited time, so make sure you take advantage. And you can do that by clicking the link in the video description below or heading to DraftKings Sportsbook. Make your first deposit of at least $5, then make that wager. $200 in free bets coming your way. All right, we are going to talk some pretty deep games in the weeds here. A lot of Ivy Leagues. We've got some Mountain West games. It's actually a really good slate for those of you hardcore fans of college basketball. And we'll kick things off with an Ivy game. It's Princeton versus Cornell. The biggest thing here is Cornell has a major injury on their team. Nazir Williams missed their last game. He's second on the team in scoring. He averages 12.9 points per game, and he does that in just 24.4 minutes. So when you break it down and look at the most efficient players on the team and the most valuable players on the team, he's second on the team in those regards. And that's huge here because Princeton is very close to Cornell in the rankings. So losing a player like this for Cornell is massive. We took this at -2.5 in our insider Discord where you can get a ton of plays. And we're taking a lot of games late in the days too. And one of the biggest things with college basketball that you can benefit from is just following the injury news throughout the day. Yesterday, we hit 3 late games, UAB, FIU, and another one that escapes me just from injury news alone. And the injuries are so important here because Princeton ranks 112th overall at KenPom, 244th strength of schedule. Cornell is 102nd, 263rd in strength of schedule. Height is basically the same for both these teams. Cornell with a slight advantage, 217 to Princeton's 237. But there's a lot of edges Princeton's way, and they're only exacerbated when you take out Williams for Cornell. So right away, we take a look at the efficiency metrics here for both teams. Cornell is actually very good on offense and awful on defense. They're 7th in offensive efficiency. Very good shooting team, especially from 3-2. Meanwhile, Princeton's more balanced. They're 59th in offensive efficiency, 102nd on defense. Cornell is 234 in defensive efficiency. And they're particularly weak inside where they rank 353. And Princeton is 17th in offensive efficiency inside. So that's a major mismatch in favor of Princeton right here in this spot. Now rebounding, Princeton's 40th, Cornell is 227th, another massive advantage there. And when you look at potential advantages for Cornell, Williams is the main ball handler for this team. So right away, the turnover margin does suit Cornell, but this potential absence kind of hinders that a little less of an advantage than it may have been if Williams is fully healthy. So right away, I like Princeton overall at the -2.5. -3, I think, is fine right now. And maybe if you're a little worried about this, you just wait and get confirmation that Williams is out. Then you could jump on Princeton if you're truly worried about the number. But Princeton already has advantages. And then some of the advantages that Cornell might have are kind of mitigated by this injury. So we'll be back in Princeton. Second game, I mean, every game we're going to talk about is actually heavily influenced by injuries today, which is pretty crazy. But we'll go to the Mountain West and talk Boise State, San Diego. You may have seen this open -7 in favor of San Diego State, which was crazy. But the reason is Boise State is down Marcus Shaver and Najee Smith. And if you've watched any Boise games, you know they run a hyper-condensed rotation. They essentially play 5 guys. So losing one, but now losing 2 of them is massive for this team. However, the books were aware of this, and I think they opened the spread accordingly. What they didn't do is adjust the total. And I think under 134 is a play we can make here. Right now, both these teams are slightly below average in terms of pace. Boise State more than San Diego, which is kind of a surprise. Boise State is 68.9 in possessions per game. Again, league average is about 70, a little north of that. San Diego State is at 69.9, which is actually a little faster than they generally play. But Boise State's 8th in defensive efficiency. San Diego State is 76th. And Boise's actually held their opponents at or below 68 points in 8 of their last 9 games, with the lone dissenting game being an overtime game against New Mexico. And San Diego State has played solid defenses themselves. They've had a few more lapses than Boise, but they should also be a little bit better in this spot, defending a Boise team without 2 starters. So first of all, I think Boise probably plays a little slower than they typically do because of that. And then San Diego State is particularly vulnerable inside. And now Boise losing Najee Smith really hurts that advantage for them. So I have a lot of major questions about how Boise is going to score on this team. Again, it's a good defense, not quite as good, but San Diego State's still well inside the top 100 in defensive efficiency. I think this is a slow, inefficient game on both sides. So we'll be backing the under here. And last one, it's an Ivy game. Brown taking on Dartmouth. Hit this at -1.5 in favor of Brown. It moved to -2, which I think is fine. But the first thing you should know is there's major injury concerns on both sides. So ultimately, if you're around this evening and you're just watching the Ivy games, maybe this is when you wait on and see the inactives. Cade Haskin is out for Dartmouth. Jackson Monroe didn't play in their last game. Connor Christensen has only played in 3 games this year. Romeo Mithril missed the last game. It's a lot of players, some of them more valuable than others. For reference, when you just look at who's played minutes for this team, right now, Cade Haskin, I think, is the most important absence. He averaged 24.5 minutes per game. He's only played in 14 games this year. Didn't play in their most recent run. Jackson Monroe, he averages about 14 minutes per game, but he actually started the game, didn't play in their last one. And then Mithril averages 17 minutes per game. He started 8 games. He did not play in their last game either. And that's all on the Dartmouth side. For Brown, we also have some absences, which I think are a little less impactful. Kalu Anya is not going to play this weekend, and he's a good player. He's a starter for this team. But they're also projected to get back Dan Friday, who's also a starter for this team typically when he's healthy. So it's kind of one starter in, one starter out. And I feel a little bit better about the health of this Brown team overall. Plus, they have advantages. They're a little bit better than Dartmouth really across the board. Offensive efficiency, Brown is 269, Dartmouth is 317. Defensive efficiency, Brown is 81, Dartmouth is 185. Rebounding, Brown is 134, Dartmouth is 185. And these kind of extend really across the board. Brown's a little bit better at forcing turnovers than Dartmouth. Brown is, in some regards, a little bit better of a shooting team in some regards. 3-point percentage in particular, Brown is 147, Dartmouth is 282. So you see there's like these micro advantages for Brown across the board. In injuries right now, I think you still might be getting an edge on the Brown side prior to tip-off. But again, if you're nervous, this is one I'd wait and see. Make sure you guys are active. But that'll do it for us with the Odd Shopper channel. Big slate tomorrow, so stick around. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Matt_Gajeski. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe on the way out. And until next time, good luck, everyone.